Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl Butler, and you're listening to the Mighty Mommies Quick and Dirty Tips podcast, which will help make your life as a parent a little bit easier and a lot more fun. Welcome! This is episode number 321, titled Spring into Stress-Free Parenting, a topic near and dear to my heart because, well, too many families are faced with more stress than they really need in their lives. Spring is finally in the air, and so is the urge to freshen up our homes. While we're in the mood to breathe new life into our living environment, spring is also a time of renewal for other areas in our life as well, including revamping some of our current parenting strategies. So I hope this podcast will invigorate you this season with Mighty Mommy's 6 tips to help you spring into a more stress-free parenting style. Tip number 1, identify your daily stressors. As parents, we all have our breaking points. Between keeping our households running, working one or more jobs, juggling our kids' activities, homework, playdates, and other appointments, and trying to make time for our spouses and ourselves, there usually isn't any room for anything extra. It's no wonder that we snap and fall apart when one of our kids whines about what we're having for dinner. One way we as parents can lighten our load is to be aware of what our daily stressors are, so that we can try and make some course corrections. In my family, one of the biggest stress makers that we are constantly facing is that we're running behind schedule. This caused us to snap at one another, which in turn caused us to arrive late for nearly every appointment or function, thus further adding to our stress. It was a vicious cycle. Finally, I'd had enough. I started adding an extra 30 minutes to all our departure times for school, activities, and appointments. This way, we could all get ready and get out the door on time with much less stress. Tip number 2, prioritize what's important. It's easy to get whisked away into a whirlwind of unnecessary activities like checking our emails every 15 minutes or cruising on social media, rather than sitting and listening to your child tell you all about his day. But that does everyone a disservice. We parents need to take inventory of how we spend our time so that it can make the most positive difference in our children's daily lives. One of the most valuable ways I have learned to spend my time is to take good care of myself. When I exercise on a regular basis and invest time in planning healthy, tasty meals for my family, I feel more energized and equipped to handle my 8 kids. Making time to be available after dinner to help with homework or to read stories, watch a favorite show, or just be present when my family might be going through a challenging time is also a priority of mine. When our kids sense that we're making them a priority, it can definitely help reduce the way we experience stress on a regular basis. Tip number 3, ignore bad behaviors. One of the first parenting books I read was The Big Book of Parenting Solutions, 101 Answers to Your Everyday Challenges and Wildest Worries by Michelle Borba. I related to her tips because they were so practical and easy to apply. One of my favorites was how to deal with tantrums, whining, and annoying behaviors. Turns out, the longer you give attention to these behaviors, the longer they're going to last. The trick is to ignore, ignore, ignore. It sounded much too simple to actually work, but when I focused on my kids' good behaviors and paid no attention to the less desirable ones, I was pleasantly surprised at how well this tactic worked. We can't change how another person behaves, especially a young child, but we can change how we deal with these behaviors, and that has been one of the biggest stress reducers in raising kids for me. Tip number 4, smile and encourage others. Another of Michelle Borba's tips that I've used for many years is the friendship builder. She explained that the 2 most common traits of well-liked kids are smiling and encouraging others. Ever since reading her book, I've always taught my kids that no matter what, they should always share a smile. By the same token, I've taught my kids the importance of encouraging another person when they may be down on their luck or simply not feeling that great. When we take the time to build another person up, it can help reduce our own stress levels because we aren't focused on ourselves. Tip number 5. Reduce nagging. Kids will nag their parents about the same thing countless times in order to get their way. You know it, and I know it. Parents finally cave because they just don't want to hear it anymore. How many times can you listen to your tween moan that all her friends are allowed to hang out for an hour after the movie gets out, so she should too? Nagging, however, goes both ways. We as parents can be pretty fluent in nagging ourselves when we're trying to get our kids to do their chores or finish their homework or get to bed at a reasonable hour. If you want to put a fresh spring in your parenting step, suggest that your family go on a no-nagging diet. Become aware of your tone of voice, how you ask one another for things, and how you react to your children's endless requests. Nagging can ultimately become a bad habit, so turn down the negative dial and increase the positive channels instead. Check out my episode, 5 Ways to Say Yes to Your Kids, for more tips on dialing down the negativity in your home. Tip number 6, try something new as a family. If there's one thing most families agree they don't have enough of, it's time together. Regardless of your kids' ages, take the exhilarating season of spring to commit to finding new ways to spend time together on a regular basis. Maybe it's committing to Sunday dinners with a board game afterwards, or taking up a new hobby like scrapbooking, or visiting a new ice cream parlor in your town. It does not have to be something monumental. Just making the effort to stay connected as a family unit on a consistent basis can help reduce your weekly stress because you'll be building closer relationships with the ones that you love. So, what are some of the things that you've helped to do to distress your family life? Share your thoughts in the comments section at quickanddirtytips.com/mighty-mommy, or post your ideas on the Mighty Mommy Facebook page, or email me at mommy@quickanddirtytips.com. And I hope you'll visit my family-friendly boards at pinterest.com/mightymommyqdt. Be sure to sign up for the upcoming Mighty Mommy newsletter, which will be chock full of practical advice to make your parenting life easier and more enjoyable. I hope your family is enjoying a low-stress spring season. Thanks for listening, and until next time, happy parenting.